Okay, so this year we had 6,915 script applications for this fellowship. How do we arrive at choosing the 5 finalists? Well, you know that phone emoji that looks like an arrow or a dart that's sticking into a target? That's not how we do it. I will give you a little peek into the process. The organizational heavy lifting of the whole program gets done by 2 Academy staff members that I have to thank tonight, Greg Beal and Joan White. Greg and Joan wrangle a small army of paid readers who do the first round of reading of all those nearly 7,000 scripts that come in every year. The readers follow specific evaluation guidelines that the Nicholl Committee has put together for them. And in fact, all the readers who read all the way through at every stage are following these same guidelines. The Nicholl Committee is like, as a base requirement, you have to love writers, love screenwriting and value it, and have some understanding of what goes into making a good script. And I do give a lot of thought to balancing our committee by gender, race, background. We balance it by professional backgrounds as well, the different branches of the Academy. So there's like a little science to putting together the 18 or so people that get to sit in that room. So we read these scripts blind too. We don't know anything about where the script came from. We see a title and then there's a number under it and then that's all we get. So we feel like we give it the fairest read we possibly can. In that huge tranche of 7,000 scripts actually gets read twice. And the highest scoring of those scripts this year was over 1,200 scripts came in that got to be read a third time, which allowed us to then winnow the field down to quarterfinalists. Roughly the top 5% of the 7,000 go on to be quarterfinalists. Those quarterfinal scripts get read 3 more times. We then take the best of 5 of the 6 scores to identify the semifinalists. So this year it was 148 of those. Those got read 4 times each. This time by Academy members who are again drawn from across all the branches. Of the 200 members who judged the semifinalist scripts this year, 53 were Academy Award winners or nominees. So then we use the best of 8 of 10 scores to narrow the field to our finalists. And that group can range anywhere from 10 to 15 scripts will end up being the final scripts. And those scripts are the ones that the Nicholl Committee itself reads, and we usually read them twice over each. Then we're ready to deliberate. So upstairs is a room on the 7th floor that has a big swooping oval donut of a table that looks like it came from The Empire Strikes Back. And we sit there and we discuss the finalist scripts for hours. Because I chair the meeting, I get to play Darth Vader. It gets tense, we differ, we agree, and then we differ. We get swayed by an impassioned rant from one of us, and sometimes we change our votes, and then sometimes we change it back. We have snacks. It's fun, and it's fun not just because of the ranting, but because of you, because the writing in these finalist scripts is always amazing. That is actually what makes it so tense, because we don't have the capacity to support more than 5 fellows a year. So that becomes our creative boundary. And because we have a creative boundary, those of you who write know that's when it gets exciting. So believe me, up there at that weird table, there is some point in that meeting in which we really go back and forth about scripts number 5 and number 6, because we have to get it down to 5. But somehow out of this long and passionate meeting, 5 Nicholl Fellows emerge. And then I have to say that something else happens in that room, which is that all of us who are doing this judging become really inspired by the process, by the things that were said in the room, and above all, by the work that we've read and discussed. We become inspired by the voices that we are here to honor tonight. And we come away reminded of our own desire to do our best work and our most personal work. Because what invariably rises to the top of those 7,000 scripts are writers who are capable of doing what Franz Kafka described in a letter to a friend when he was still a rather young writer. Kafka was talking about books, but if he were writing now, I think it's likely he would be saying this about the movies. I think we ought to read only the kind of books that wound or stab us. If it doesn't wake us up with a blow to the head, what are we reading for? We need books that affect us like a disaster, that grieve us deeply, like the death of someone we loved more than ourselves, like being banished into forests far from everyone, like a suicide. A book must be the axe for the frozen sea inside us. So in that room, we end up choosing writers who give us access to the great ocean of shared human experience contained in all of us. Tonight, the Nicholl Fellowship honors and encourages the future work of these Nicholl Fellows for 2016. Michelle Atkins, Lloyd Harvey and Spencer Harvey, Geeta Malik, Elizabeth Oyebode, and Justin Piasecki. And here tonight to give you a glimpse of their current work is a longtime Nicholl supporter, writer-director Rodrigo Garcia. Come over here, because I'm going to embarrass you.
Was I not supposed to come out?
You came out too early, because now you have to stand here while I talk about you.
I wrote this part.
He's not getting away. Okay? Rodrigo has made a really daunting list of wonderful movies. They're always really innovative movies, too. He made one movie called 9 Lives, which was 9 separate lives, 9 camera moves, no cuts. That is a great movie. He made Mother and Child. He did the Oscar-nominated Albert Nobbs, Things You Can Tell Just by Looking at Her, and plus the long-running TV show In Treatment. And he recently wrote and directed a film, Last Days in the Desert, that I think about just about every day. It stars Ewan McGregor. It's a really haunting film. It had a limited art house release this year, which means not enough people saw this incredible movie. But it's streaming now on Netflix and iTunes, and you really have to see it, Last Days in the Desert. It is a prime example of an experienced artist at work. So that was embarrassing.